In a world dominated by fast fashion and machine-made clothing, there thrives a quiet tradition where every stitch tells a deeper story. Welcome to the realm of Amish embroidery, a craft done entirely by hand and without the aid of electricity, where simple pieces of fabric are elevated into cherished family heirlooms. A sacred craft, not just ornamentation. Amish embroidery is more than just a decorative art. It's a living expression of faith and history, part of a 3,000-year-old lineage interwoven with their way of life. Unlike contemporary embellishments that are designed to catch the eye, Amish needlework embraces demut, the spiritual value of humility. Their most intricate stitching often graces personal items like undergarments and household linens, hidden from public view. These quiet details reflect a philosophy. True beauty should be modest, not boastful. From tiny hands to mastery. The journey into this craft begins early. By the age of 5, Amish girls are introduced to basic running stitches on small fabric swatches. It's a gentle beginning, guided by mothers and grandmothers who emphasize patience long before perfection. As they grow, their skill deepens. By the time a girl turns 14, she's proficient in a wide range of time-honored stitches: stem, chain, buttonhole, feather, each chosen for its specific purpose in garment construction. There are no instruction manuals here. These techniques are passed down orally and visually, preserving a continuous thread of knowledge that spans generations. Material constraints that spark creativity. While modern crafters can choose from an endless array of fabrics and threads, Amish women work within clearly defined limits, rules set by the Ordnung or community guidelines. These restrictions shape their signature aesthetic. Only natural fabrics like cotton and linen are allowed, with synthetic materials strictly avoided. Thread colors are just as regulated, usually limited to black, white, deep blue, and purple. A few communities might allow muted tones like forest green or wine red, but it's within these boundaries that true creativity flourishes. By working with a limited palette, Amish artisans push the boundaries of their imagination, crafting visually stunning designs that are both unique and respectful of tradition. Designing without a pattern. In a digital age where embroidery often starts with printed templates, the Amish rely entirely on their memory and inner vision. Every design is born in the mind and rendered through muscle memory and intuition. Their motifs are steeped in local identity. Flowing vine patterns are typical in Lancaster County, while Holmes County favors clean, geometric layouts. In Elkhart, Indiana, stylized floral patterns often take center stage. Young Amish women don't learn embroidery from manuals or instructional guides. Instead, they absorb the skill by watching their mothers, grandmothers, and older sisters at work. Each pattern they learn is more than just decorative, it's symbolic. Floral motifs often embody virtues like purity or patience, while geometric shapes are tied to biblical themes and spiritual beliefs. What's truly captivating is how these designs evolve slightly over time, passed down from mother to daughter, becoming a kind of visual language that reflects not only the broader Amish community, but also specific family heritage. Traditional tools. Unlike modern embroiderers who rely on plastic hoops and specially designed tools, Amish women use instruments that have changed little over the centuries. Their modest toolkits usually contain a few cherished items: wooden needle holders filled with steel needles that have been used for decades, small hand-forged scissors, naturally dyed thread, and thimbles worn smooth by generations of use. Perhaps the most remarkable feature is what's missing: embroidery hoops. Instead of relying on frames, these women develop an incredible ability to keep the fabric tight using only their hands. Each family's set of tools becomes a treasured legacy. Sisters will often share a needle case until one of them marries, at which point she's given her own set, sometimes including needles that once belonged to her great-grandmother. These tools are not only functional but deeply sentimental, creating a tangible bond to ancestors whose faces may never be seen in photographs but whose skills live on through their handiwork. The art of the stitch. Unlike the bold, visible stitches favored in many contemporary embroidery styles, Amish needlework is known for its subtlety and precision. The true artistry lies in the near-invisible stitching, Every authentic piece is entirely hand-sewn using time-honored methods developed over generations. The most skilled artisans can make stitches so delicate and uniform that they're often mistaken for machine work, until, on closer look, the tiny variations and imperfections reveal their handcrafted origin. This nearly invisible stitchwork is what truly sets Amish embroidery apart. One of the defining marks of Amish embroidery is the flawless condition of the fabric's underside. Skilled needleworkers craft pieces where the reverse side mirrors the front so closely that it takes a trained eye to distinguish between them. This level of craftsmanship demands extraordinary thread control, a mastery that can take decades to achieve. But the goal isn't just visual perfection. A smooth, neat underside prevents irritation when worn, making the garments both beautiful and comfortable. The physical demands are also noteworthy. Years of stitching develop thick calluses on the index fingers of dedicated women, evidence of countless hours pushing needles through cloth. Their hands often adopt a unique form, a natural result of the specific postures and repetitive motions that define the work. Seasoned embroiderers are easily recognized by their subtle, yet telling, embroiderer's grip. Embroidery as daily ritual. Unlike hobbyists who pick up embroidery when time allows, Amish women weave needlework into the very fabric of daily life. It's not an occasional pastime, it's a constant, purposeful rhythm. They often begin their stitching by soft morning light near a window, continue in the afternoon while watching over children, and wrap up the day by the warm glow of an oil lamp. Many women juggle multiple embroidery projects at once. Simple, easy pieces are reserved for social settings, while more intricate designs are saved for quiet moments of focus. Through this ongoing practice, embroidery becomes more than a craft. It becomes a meditative habit, almost spiritual in nature. As life evolves, so does the way they stitch. Young mothers find time in short intervals, fitting embroidery between caring for children. Older women, their fingers stiffened by age, often move to simpler patterns on larger fabrics. And in times of sorrow, many women turn to the needle, choosing complex, demanding designs that require complete focus, finding healing in the steady rhythm of their work. A different view of time. The Amish perception of time stands in sharp contrast to the modern world's rush. There is no pressure to finish a project quickly. Pieces are allowed to unfold at a natural pace, sometimes over weeks or even months. A single collar might receive 30 to 40 hours of detailed embroidery, a time investment that might seem excessive to outsiders but is seen as completely appropriate within their culture, where the value of labor lies in its meaning, not its speed. Embroidery as fellowship. While much of the modern embroidery world is practiced in isolation, Amish needlework remains deeply rooted in community. Regular social sewing events, known as frolics, bring women of all ages together. These gatherings are more than just group work sessions. They're moments of shared wisdom, storytelling, and connection. Typically, 4 to 10 women gather in a circle, each immersed in her own project. While working, they sing hymns, swap stories, and offer advice. Unlike quilting bees, which focus on a communal project, embroidery gatherings celebrate personal work in a collective setting. Here, seasoned women mentor younger ones, passing on time-tested techniques and offering encouragement where it's needed most. What might surprise outsiders is how these embroidery gatherings serve as vital hubs of information in Amish communities, where modern technology like phones and the internet is absent. Within these quiet circles of needlework, news travels, births, illnesses, engagements, and other life events are shared casually but effectively, keeping the community connected through spoken word. But these circles offer more than just updates. They are informal classrooms where younger women absorb not only stitching techniques, but also invaluable life wisdom. Conversations naturally drift into topics like child-rearing, homemaking, and the unspoken expectations of Amish society. These teachings are passed down with warmth and repetition, stitching practical knowledge into the fabric of everyday life. For unmarried women, embroidery gatherings carry even more significance. These settings allow their needlework to be observed and appreciated by others in the community. The neatness, originality within traditional limits, and consistency of their work quietly indicate readiness for marriage and responsibility. Finished embroidery pieces often find their way into hope chests, carefully prepared collections that include garments and linens made with future husbands and children in mind. Clothing with meaning. In contrast to the fashion-driven nature of mainstream clothing, Amish garments serve a dual purpose, both symbolic and utilitarian. Embroidery isn't simply decorative, it strengthens the fabric at points most exposed to wear, such as hems, collars, and cuffs. This adds durability to clothing while also honoring the time and effort invested in each piece. It's a beautiful cycle of purpose and preservation where handwork is valued, not discarded. Each stage of life is marked by its own embroidery customs. Newborns are welcomed with soft caps and gowns adorned with subtle protective motifs. As children grow, their clothing features small, charming symbols, flowers, animals, and simple shapes that reflect their journey toward maturity. For adolescent girls, embroidery becomes a visible expression of developing skill. Aprons and head coverings often act as personal canvases, showcasing refined techniques. Wedding stitchery embroidery holds a deeply emotional place in wedding traditions. A bride typically crafts specific items in preparation for her marriage: handkerchiefs for her groom and his family, aprons for herself, and linens for their new home together. These creations often feature gentle symbolism, intertwined initials, birds in pairs, or flowers with deeper meaning, all forming a kind of silent language that speaks to love, faith, and shared values. Stitching through grief. Even in mourning, embroidery plays a poignant role. When a loved one passes, women often create memorial pieces, Bible covers, handkerchiefs, or prayer cap strings, delicately stitched with designs that reflect the soul and spirit of the departed. Each piece becomes a quiet tribute, woven with remembrance and love, helping families process grief through the comfort of familiar ritual. What begins as a practical household craft for Amish women has, over time, evolved into an unexpected link between their secluded way of life and the modern economy. Today, genuine hand-embroidered Amish items are highly sought after, with prices reflecting both their craftsmanship and rarity. Small items like handkerchiefs often fetch between $75 and $200, while intricately stitched aprons can sell for $300 to $600. Full dresses, painstakingly detailed by hand, may range from $800 up to $1,500. This situation presents a striking paradox. Items created by women who consciously avoid materialism are prized by collectors precisely because of their simplicity and traditional technique. Yet despite this commercial interest, most Amish women who create these pieces never deal directly with buyers. Instead, business is typically conducted through small, community-run shops or by Mennonite intermediaries who facilitate sales while preserving the Amish desire for separation from the outside world. The difference between authentic Amish embroidery and mass-produced replicas is significant. Genuine pieces are entirely hand-sewn, featuring regional nuances recognizable to trained eyes. Unfortunately, many products marketed to tourists as Amish style are actually made using machines or even produced overseas, deceiving buyers and diluting the authenticity of the tradition. Still, for many Amish families, income from embroidery serves a vital role. In smaller settlements where farming alone doesn't always cover expenses, a skilled embroiderer can contribute between $2,000 and $5,000 per year through commissioned work. That additional income can make the difference between financial security and struggle, especially important in maintaining the family farm without requiring men to work outside the community. This unique balance allows the Amish to continue their traditional lifestyle while still benefiting from a world that values the very simplicity they preserve. Stitching through life's seasons. In mainstream culture, embroidery might be a creative hobby or decorative pastime, but in Amish life it's far more. It's a constant companion, a craft that marks every milestone from early childhood to the end of life. A girl's journey with embroidery begins young. By age 5, she typically practices with simple fabric squares. By 8 or 9, she's producing usable items like handkerchiefs, pincushions, and the basic ties for bonnets. As she approaches her teenage years, around 12 to 14, her work becomes more sophisticated. She starts crafting pieces for her hope chest, a cherished tradition in which young women prepare handmade items for their future household. Each project she completes adds to a growing collection of embroidered linens, garments, and accessories that will one day become part of her married life. It's a gradual accumulation of skill and purpose, threaded not just through fabric but through time, growth, and identity. As a young Amish girl grows, her embroidery becomes more than just practice. It forms a visible, tangible record of her maturing skills. Every stitch tells a story not only to herself but to the entire community. This quiet progression is on display, building trust and admiration within the circles she's part of. One of the most meaningful chapters in this journey comes in the year leading up to her wedding. During this time, embroidery takes on a deeper urgency and emotional weight. She devotes herself to creating special items for her new home: linens, garments, and most notably the prayer coverings she will wear as a married woman. These caps often feature her most intricate and delicate stitchwork. She also embroiders ceremonial handkerchiefs, subtly personalized with the couple's initials, symbols of their union, designed with care and humility, always in keeping with the community's values of modesty and grace. Embroidery through married life. Marriage doesn't mark the end of this creative devotion, it transforms it. Embroidery remains a constant companion throughout an Amish woman's life, woven into every milestone. With each child's birth, she may create a small embroidered item, a bonnet string, a cap, or a blanket trim, commemorating the moment with quiet reverence. Household achievements, anniversaries, and community celebrations also find expression through thread and needle, preserving the memory in fabric. As women grow older, the focus of their embroidery often shifts toward legacy. They begin preparing pieces not just for use but for teaching, leaving partially completed projects for their daughters or granddaughters to finish. This becomes a heartfelt method of passing down knowledge, with each shared thread linking generations through both skill and sentiment. A final stitch of devotion. Perhaps the most moving embroidery of all is the one no one sees during life: the burial clothing. Many Amish women prepare these garments well in advance, crafting them with the utmost care and subtlety. These simple clothes, often made from plain fabric, are adorned with some of the most delicate stitching she will ever create. It's work meant not for admiration, but as a final act of devotion, a quiet offering of faith, humility, and tradition. After her passing, family members may add small finishing touches, tiny embellishments, a final hem, a discreet motif. This last collaborative piece becomes a tender farewell, wrapping the departed in the love and labor of those she leaves behind. The deeper purpose. To outsiders, Amish embroidery may seem impressive for its fine craftsmanship and artistic precision, but its true power lies deeper. It is a physical expression of faith, a thread through which core Amish values are made visible. Embroidery embodies the concept of Gelassenheit, a surrender to God's will, modesty, and the importance of community over self. The patience required for such fine, enduring work, the humility of creating beauty that may never be publicly recognized, and the discipline of upholding centuries-old tradition all reflect a spiritual worldview woven directly into daily life. Perhaps most profound is how embroidery becomes a channel for quiet creativity in a culture that discourages overt self-expression. In this context, needlework offers a rare space for individual artistry, all while fulfilling a practical purpose. It is beauty born of function, shaped by faith, and sustained by generations of women who stitch not for applause, but for meaning. In Amish communities, the most skilled embroiderers are not celebrated as artists in the conventional sense. Instead, they are quietly honored as women who reflect the highest values of their faith through the discipline, patience, and humility evident in their stitches. Their recognition comes not from self-promotion, but from embodying the community's ideals with grace and dedication. Embroidery in this context often serves as a silent language. In a culture where openly expressing emotions is rare, many Amish women use needle and thread as an outlet for their feelings. Moments of joy, sorrow, worry, or hope are woven into the fabric. The tension of a stitch, the shades of thread chosen, or the intricacy of a design can silently reveal an emotional landscape that words might never convey. To a practiced eye, these pieces become emotional records, textiles that speak even when voices do not. A living link across generations. Perhaps the most profound aspect of Amish embroidery is its role in connecting generations. When a young mother uses the same needle her grandmother once held, crafting a bonnet string for her own daughter, she becomes part of a living chain of heritage. This act is more than functional, it is ceremonial, reverent, and deeply meaningful. In a culture that rarely uses photography or digital records, these embroidered textiles become physical links to the past. They carry not just aesthetic beauty but living history, encoded with the values, skills, and spirit of the women who came before. The fabrics become heirlooms of knowledge and tradition, passed from hand to hand, heart to heart. Embroidery as a philosophy of life. What may appear to outsiders as mere ornamentation is, in truth, a profoundly different way of understanding time, creation, and meaning. These garments, carefully and meticulously stitched by hand, are not just decorative clothing. They represent a life philosophy that exists in quiet defiance of modern, fast-paced, mass-produced culture. Amish women use the same simple materials any modern embroiderer might find at a store: thread, cloth, needle. But what sets their work apart is the mindset behind it. Their embroidery is not driven by trends or personal fame. It is rooted in collective memory, spiritual conviction, and cultural duty. Each stitch is an act of devotion, both to God and to generations of women whose work laid the foundation. There is a paradox here. Though Amish embroidery springs from a tradition that discourages individuality, it still allows room for a subtle, deeply personal voice. Within carefully preserved boundaries, women express themselves with quiet confidence, knowing their work will endure long after words fade. A thread beyond time. Before we dismiss these traditional methods as outdated or irrelevant, we must pause. Amish embroidery is not just an old-fashioned craft. It is a worldview made visible, one that treasures patience over speed, quality over convenience, and meaning over recognition. In every garment, in every tiny, nearly invisible stitch, is a thread that ties the present to the past, and to something greater than any single life.